Stray Bullets is a comic written and drawn by David Lapham and edited and produced by Maria Lapham. This husband and wife team have been making Stray Bullets since 1995. The book went on hiatus from 2005 to 2014 but has since been in full swing. Stray Bullets is a mature, black and white crime anthology series. According to an interview with David Lapham, this noir-inspired book explores violence and the ripple effect it has on people. In other words, how will violence that is witnessed or done by people affect their lives? It intricately weaves tales starring many characters whose stories usually cross over that are dark, disturbing, and sometimes comical. The best way I can illustrate this is if I talk about a specific issue. One of my favorites is issue 24. Man or Human. Most of this issue takes place in Shanghai Palace, a restaurant where the characters Beth, Ricky, and Amelia are eating dinner. Beth invites her friend Ian to meet her there to discuss a problem. As he walks into the restaurant, he sees another character, Monster, waiting outside. Monster, as seen in previous issues, is a man who works for Harry, a mysterious gangster who runs the city. You can see why they call him Monster. Soon, Ian finds out Beth stole a suitcase full of money and cocaine from Harry, and Monster and his thugs are hired to get it back. Beth needs Ian to go back to her apartment and get her sister, Amy. Amy's story is focused more throughout Stray Bullets, but that's another story. Ian goes back to Beth's apartment and finds Blue Ed, one of Harry's thugs, waiting outside the apartment. Now, this is where Stray Bullets sticks out from the rest. The book is drawn in black and white, and so you see a lot of shadows. Very noir, very striking, very memorable. But it's more than that. I'm afraid to use the word cinematic, because it's a word that is used so much I think it's losing its meaning. But Stray Bullets is cinematic. The thing is, though, is that it never forgets it's a comic book. It's not trying to be a movie. It's not trying to be a TV show. It's not trying to be a novel. It is being a comic book. I think a lot of people who make comics sometimes forget this. There are things you can utilize in a comic book that make it stand out from other mediums. Enter the speech bubble. I'm serious. I know it's just there to show the dialogue of a character, but it can be used in creative ways. When Ian is talking to Blue Ed, you'll notice Ed's speech bubbles are squiggly, while Ian's is a normal round speech bubble. This is a visual cue to the reader telling him or her that there is something not right about this character. Because of this cue, you'll get a creepy vibe from the character, letting you know that this guy probably won't have any redeeming qualities, and it further establishes him as a villain. Back at the restaurant, Beth and Amelia make a $50 bet that they can sweet-talk their way out of their situation. Amelia tries to convince Beth that Monster has a thing for her, so she should sweet-talk him. Beth thinks that it won't work on a guy like Monster. The reader will probably side with Beth on this bet. The only thing you've seen of Monster is that he is ruthless. In fact, the only emotions you see emanating from Monster before this issue is anger and calm. He's all business. Amelia tries to sweet-talk him, but it doesn't work out. Monster's speech bubbles are clean rectangles with neat, rounded edges. It gives his dialogue a stern visual cue, which means he's very stern, and if you deviate from these neat rectangles, it doesn't bode well for that person. It's probably best not to argue with him or manipulate him. Amelia is still convinced that Beth could sweet-talk Monster, and lo and behold, it works. She invites him into the restaurant to share dessert. Eventually, Beth scolds Monster and tells him to admit he has a thing for her, and that this business of his isn't just about money, but about Beth. Monster reveals that he could never kill her, and so he leaves, finally putting all this business behind him. Before Ian and Beth leave the restaurant, Beth gives Amelia $50 and says, "When you're right, you're right." Such a lighthearted ending for a dark issue. Stray Bullets is funny when it wants to be funny, disturbing when it wants to be, and sickeningly dark when it wants to be. Such a large range of tones for one series. Currently, there are 52 issues of this series that are out, and I know that's daunting. After the 41st issue, David and Maria Lapham decided to continue the series in a mini-series format. This means that instead of keeping the original numbering, each new story arc starts at issue 1. This is a clever way to reach new readers. I mean, who wants to pick up issue 50 to start with? Don't let the numbers get to you, though. The Laphams have worked very hard to make each issue a complete story on its own. You don't have to read issues 1 through 23 to understand issue 24, for example, but if you do read the whole series, you'll get more out of it. Fortunately, the first 41 issues are compiled into a single volume entitled Stray Bullets Uber Alles Edition. This is the best way to catch up if you're interested. So, what are my final thoughts? Stray Bullets is an amazing tale that's rich in content and engaging. The art is top-notch. David Lapham has a talent in drawing facial expressions. Very emotive characters. The writing is fantastic and it makes you want to read what happens next. I highly recommend this book. Just a warning though, this book is R-rated and so it is only intended for mature readers. Thanks for watching.